Hey, everybody, everybody,
Everybody.
everybody. Y'all know how it goes. Yes, we are 1 or 2 minutes early, but we are here 1 or 2 minutes early, so we will have time to share, and share,
And share some more.
and share some more. Yeah, you
Today
know,
is gonna be that day though, sissy.
today is definitely
Today is gonna be that day.
that
That day?
that day.
That day.
Yes.
Y'all don't even know. We had to woosah and we had to
Yeah.
have some serious conversation on this particular show.
Yes.
It's gonna be alright.
It's already all right.
It truly is. It truly is.
It's already. And the crazy thing is, nothing has happened.
No.
It's just one of those topics that just brings out a lot of different emotions
True.
and responses from people. Because, baby, baby.
So I'm going to say that this might not be if you one of those people that gets in your feelings easily.
This ain't the show for you. Yeah, no. This is not that show. Mm-mm. Trying to tell you now. Be ye forewarned. This is the craziest thing ever, girl.
What's that?
It's like almost like I just shared it to our page instead of my page. Yeah,
That's because you're probably under it has decided that you are
I
the
am
show.
who I am.
Yeah, well, it decided that and not just who you
Well,
are.
well, how about I do it this way
Hmm. So tonight we are going to be talking about blood, blood.
then? All of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just wait until you um see a particular meme.
Oh, you got something for me?
I got something for you, and it is going
Uh
to, I guess you could say, kickstart
oh.
everything. Let me go to this thing page real quick, and
Listen, you got me like chomping at the bit here. Like I want to know what's going on.
you know what?
I want to know what's going on. Okay, so I just want y'all to know that whatever gets said, like we've had serious conversation about the topic of the show, but not about the content of the show. And during the day, I'm generally pretty much unavailable, so I'm never sure what she has up her sleeve. Just a disclaimer: don't let her clutch her pearls at y'all. Don't let her do it. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, y'all. Don't fall for it.
But,
But what?
but,
Mm,
I'm just saying.
well, come on and say what you gonna say
I'm
then.
just saying. I'm trying to get this to these peoples because they wanted me to make sure that I tag them. So I need to. I'm trying to ensure that you know what? That's how I'm gonna do it. I just copied the actual show link and I'm just posted to my page. That
Yeah.
dirt. You know what? I'm so glad you thought of that. Yeah, she's my brain, y'all. She's like for real the brain of this organization. Hi, hi, and hi.
Hello. I thank y'all.
Dream.
Yes. Hello, hello, hello. Thank y'all. Hey.
Hello. Yes, and I'm tagging a couple of people because they asked me to.
They asked you to.
Because they um, for whatever reason, didn't get the notification. So I told them I would tag them.
Because you're so nice.
Well, we're gonna pray about that.
We can pray about it.
Yeah, we're going to pray about that part.
We have to pray about it. Okay. Well, we have to pray about that one, y'all. Apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah, we good. Yeah, take Kiana. Yeah, Shanika, we good tonight. I don't really know. I'm waiting to hear about it too, honey. Listen. I'm waiting. She got me,
tonight is the night. Yeah, we did. I kicked off a couple of minutes early simply because of if y'all hear my husband, just overlook because he's tickling himself tonight.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you're getting a delay. Okay, well, I'm
Okay.
sorry about that. But anywho, we're gonna go ahead and start with two different things. That the first thing we're going to do is I want to make sure that I tell you all a little bit about our sponsors. Yes, TTCL has three different organizations that have decided to be sponsors for the show. And the first one is Indiana People of Color Social Club, which is a phenomenal organization which deals with inclusivity of all people, but it makes it a point to include those who tend to be the most ostracized, which is the LBGTQI plus community. Um, because, well, it just goes out, and it is everything from the mental health to the just your self worth, totally and completely, just the whole man, the whole woman. It just addresses you as an individual, and we are so proud to have them as a part of this thing called life. Another organization, not so vanilla weddings. I know the name is kind of to you all, but I want you all to know that that's intentional.
Absolutely.
It is also a LGBTQ TI plus friendly organization, and this is actually an organization that has an ordained minister that performs actual ceremonies.
Yes.
Because there's so many people who refuse to do so.
Absolutely.
So, you know, whether you agree, whether you don't, you're entitled to your personal belief. But we believe that love is love, and that everybody has the right to love whomever they choose.
Absolutely.
Because I don't have a heaven or hell to put anybody in.
Mm-mm.
And I ain't trying.
Listen.
I got my own stuff.
Listen.
Cool.
That and the fact that I'm one of those people that, I tell people all the time, I do not believe in judging others. I said, because that's not my job.
And I got my own junk.
I have my own stuff to worry about.
Right. And so
now, so I will also put out there that Not So Weddings also does, for those who are into lifestyle, she also does commitment and coloring ceremonies.
Okay, cool. This right here. Cakes, cake, any kind of cake, any kind of
chocolate.
I mean, and so you just need to go to the website to get a full understanding, and that's all I'm going to say. Fetishizedconfections.com. Just go to the website and you'll see for yourself. That's all I got to say on that.
Yes.
That's all I have to say about
that. You have to say about that?
Baby.
Tastes good.
Yes, that part melts in your mouth for more than one reason. Anyway. Yes, you right. Can't throw stones on a glass house. Right. Good evening, and hello all. what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and jump in now, and we're going to start with this particular meme because we're talking about blood but not family.
Absolutely.
So this was shared actually on the Indiana People of Color page, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, but this particular meme, family isn't what it used to be.
Mm.
It used to be a time when you could go to your grandma's house to eat, hang out with the family, and just have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody chooses who they want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Aunts and uncles choose which kids to be proud of.
Mm.
Brothers and sisters treat friends more like family. Cousins talk about each other like they weren't flawed.
Mm.
Grandparents spend time with certain grandchildren. And the only time you see everyone together
Is that a
is
camera?
at a funeral.
Absolutely.
And that is so loaded. And
For a
it
lot of
kind of
reasons.
goes, yeah, and it kind of goes directly into the topic.
Yeah.
It goes directly into the topic. Um, and the way the topic actually came about was me and my random thoughts. Just me and my random thoughts. I was thinking about my own family
Yes.
and how, yeah, we love each other, but, you know, just truth moment. If I were to lose certain family members, and I'm talking like first cousins, I wouldn't be affected.
Mm. Wow.
I would probably be like, dang,
Mm-hmm.
I probably should have did more to, have a relationship with them. But then when I started thinking about the relationship I once had with them, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not going to force a relationship with people who I share DNA with.
Mm.
I share DNA with them. And like I said, there's actually no ill feelings, like where I just don't like them. And they may not like me. It doesn't really matter. But I don't not like them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just indifferent toward them.
Mm-hmm.
And I find myself being more attached to people who are not biologically attached to me
Mm-hmm.
and considering them more like my actual family
Mm-hmm.
than some of those who are a part of my DNA structure.
Mm.
You know, and it got me, why is that? And part of it has to do with growing up in a different region. So I wasn't around a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was around them, I was kind of on the outside looking into their world
Mm-hmm.
because they grew up together.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
that's how they, were. And then so when I would, you know, try to assimilate myself in, I was not, and I'm just gonna be blunt, on my paternal side of the family, I wasn't saved enough because I wasn't Church of God in Christ. And back in the day, that was the that was the end all that be all. If you weren't a part of the Church of God in Christ, you weren't saved, so you was gonna bust hell wide open. So I really cannot associate with you, even though our parents have the same parents.
Mm.
We're not talking about half siblings who have children. And it's like our parents have the same parents. So why, and then, and honestly, being that I grew up away from everyone, it is very has always been very important to me to try to be close to my family, to have that relationship with my family. But the older I got, the more I realize, okay, I'm trying to force something that apparently some of them don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm just like two tears in a bucket with them, then
Then it's a
it's
problem.
a problem. Well, Misha, why aren't you, more interactive? Why don't you say more? Why don't you, I've attempted for several years do family tree.
Mm-hmm.
I have asked for specific information to be, and I've gone as far as I can go with the information that I have. But then the last time I asked for it, the comment was made to me was, you've been working on this for a while, for several, like, yeah, but it's hard to do something when y'all asses don't turn around and cooperate and give me what the hell I need. See, I know where I come from, but see, what I was trying to do was connect all the dots so you all would know. And if you do have children down the line, your children could go and eventually figure out, okay, well, we actually came from Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Or like on my maternal side of the family, part of my family comes from Nigeria over there, but we're also based out of the Caribbean. So the Caribbean islands. So I know from whence I come.
Yeah.
I know about my Native American heritage on, the Choctaw and the Chickasaw sides. I know from whence this
Okay.
bloodline
Mm-hmm.
came. I know my grandfather's brother and his children
Mm.
and his grandchildren and his great grandchildren.
Mm.
And I'm closer to a lot of them than I am my own father's siblings' children.
Mm.
What's wrong with that picture?
She said they black sheep until they found out the black wool was worth more.
Ha! You better speak on it, Kim. You better speak on it. And I'm not, and like I told you, I'm not gonna sugarcoat the truth, because if I talk to them, they they know. If if I don't, they know. The truth is the truth. It doesn't matter who tell it. And the problem that a lot of families have, we often hear about generational curses. The
Mm-hmm.
generational curse is people don't want to deal with the mess in the family.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
People don't want to get real and deal with the stuff. You know, there were things that happened between my grandmother and my grandfather that, some of my aunts and uncles felt some kind of way about.
Yeah.
But grandma didn't have a problem with it because she kept having babies. I'm just saying what I'm saying, and that's all I'm saying. They were okay enough for her to keep spitting children out. But that goes back to, where we say you can't tell everybody everything because they'll hold a grudge and y'all is made up.
See, that's why y'all don't know my business.
Okay, but go
She
ahead
said
and
Grammy has an entire set of grandkids that don't even talk to her or check in with her because their mother
hmm,
fed them lies about their grandmother.
hmm.
So her Grammy had to unfortunately stop trying to beg for their attention. She says it hurt, but at this point, are they really family?
Right.
Mm.
They're genetically connected, but that does not, and we'll,
That we'll come back to that. That
hmm,
does not make you family. Family members tend not to respect boundaries, judge more than a stranger, make you feel low or less than based on what they believe and think more than any of the outside world.
hmm.
They also think it's okay to treat you like crap, and because they are family or blood, you are supposed to forgive or allow them to do so. Most have realized that family don't give you permission to treat me bad, hence why most don't deal with family. So I'm going to say, move on to the next one. I'm going to say so that in talking with a special someone in my life
Hmm.
has made the point that, you know, family should not, because you're family, they should treat you better. They should not be of the mindset of, I'm gonna treat you foul, but you're gonna forgive me because I'm family, or because we family, or I'm gonna come to you because we family, and I'm gonna tell you I need this for ABC XYZ, even if that ain't really what the case is. But we family, so it's all good. I I could say a whole lot of bad words, but all I say is that's a bold faced lie. Because I'm gonna tell you, there's someone in my immediate family who, on the one hand, will say, I wish we had a better relationship. I wish we had a stronger bond. But this is someone who stole me blind. I mean, stole from me. It soon it parents would steal from me, would steal from my child. But now says to me, I wish that we had a better bond. I wish that we had a better relationship. But the only time I hear from that individual is
It's
when
when
you
they
need
need
something.
something. Baby. Okay, she says, Miss Sally says, biologically, yes, they are still family. It's just that it's very much limits our emotional connection to them. Now, see, and she just took it to where I was headed, because according to the technical definition of family, it says a group of one or more parents and their children living together as a unit. That's
Mm,
one definition.
yeah.
But then the next definition says all the descendants of a common ancestor.
Hmm.
So, where did the new definition of family come about? If we're not, like Miss Sally says, emotionally connected to those who share our biology, but you and I are closer than,
Me and half my family.
well, kind of the same way
Nine
here,
tenths of
but
my family. And I will say that so I have two cousins have a view of family that allows them. Yep, that's exactly what I just said. So I have two cousins that growing up became my best friends, and that is Kiona and Dejan. Those are, I mean, ride or die to this day. I can call either one of them. I'm not gonna call them and ask them for anything. But when it was time for my birthday, Dejan was here in this house. When you see me sitting here on Tuesday, Kiona is on this thread. So when I tell you their family, I mean, and they're legit. You know,
yeah, blood as well.
they're family.
Hmm.
But I have family, my father's brother's children. I don't talk to them. A majority of them. I mean, I may see them on Facebook. I don't really talk to them. They have children. They have children that are my child's age. My child don't know them. Now, when you talk about growing up in a different region, they're out west,
Hmm.
so I get that. But then to turn around and even perfect example, 2017, I decided, or it's 2018, one of them. I decided, hey, I'm going to honor when my mother's mother had recently passed. I said I'm going to honor her wish. She wanted the family to come together. Baby, when I tell you I had to block most of them, I had to have, like, before the parents showed up, my baby daddy had to come up there armed. He was armed to the teeth.
Well said, Alora.
Thank you. He had to come up there armed to the teeth to protect me from people who claim to be my relatives. There are people right now on Facebook that I have blocked who, anytime I unblock them for whatever reason, I get death threats. Like, I have a cousin, and she's a cousin, who is on my side of the family, who saw me like speak on somebody else's post. And I was just saying, hey, beautiful, whatever, whatever, whatever. She threatened me on her post. And then her husband jumped in it. And I'm like, I don't know you people. Like, I met you one time, really?
I think the current definition has changed partially because the newer generations were more willing to confront generational curses and past trauma. That means you start holding people accountable for their behavior. That
That
will change
changed
everything.
everything.
And
Because I'm
see,
gonna tell you, baby, I ain't got nothing for you. Let me reel it back in. Start talking about secrets and generational curses,
Well, see, but the curse
you know I
is
ain't got nothing for
you
you.
won't deal with the actual issues at hand. That is, and it's not, so it's not necessarily because when people always talk about generational curses, people a lot of times will try to make this a spiritual thing. It's not necessarily spiritual. It's like if you eat a bunch of fat, you're gonna have high blood pressure, your cholesterol gonna be through the roof, and you're gonna be sick.
And round.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but if you make the necessary dietary
Change.
adjustment,
Absolutely.
those your body will in turn make a shift,
Mm-hmm.
and things will start to balance out for you physically.
Okay.
Same thing when you deal with things within the family. Each part of the family is a part of the body.
Mm-hmm.
The head, 9 times out of 10, the matriarch and the patriarch.
Mm-hmm.
The necks would be their children.
Mm-hmm.
The arms would be the grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
The legs would be, and so
It
on
just
and
keeps
so
going.
forth.
Right.
So generationally, if there are issues with the necks, with the head,
It came from the head. It sprouted from the head. Absolutely.
then and you don't address those issues, you end up with situations where you got relatives that don't like each other, and you're trying to figure out generations later
Why they don't got?
why we
Why
don't
we
talk
don't
to
know?
them.
Why we don't? Why don't?
You know what? I don't know. We just never have. It's like you just never talk to them.
So, and I'm gonna go so far as I'm gonna where Shantae said about the newer generations are more willing to confront the generational curses and past trauma.
So she had a stroke, so you have to
The
go a little
secret
some of
was
her
not
typing.
supposed to surface. See, now that part. So that ties back into what I was about to say with Shantae.
Mm-hmm.
I, for years, have been the black sheep.
You know I was going. You know I was going.
For years,
You
I
know I
have
was
been
going.
the black sheep in our family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because of past trauma, because of secrets that were kept, because of abuse. I was that black sheep.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm one that was not going to be quiet and was not going to sit still and was
Mm-hmm.
not getting ready just to sit in a corner and be quiet and just be like, oh, it didn't happen, it didn't exist. No, I'm gonna yell it from the rooftop. This is what happened, right? But but the black is now the one that holds everything together.
See, I like that the generational BS stops here.
Absolutely. Because now
Mm-hmm.
the black sheep, that happens with a lot of us. You know, the ones that are the black sheep are the ones that in the end up having to hold everything together.
I
Over
messed
the
up. Look, I don't
look,
know
look,
what
what
I
happened?
did. It's like
What
I'm
happened?
sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
D,
So
D made a boo boo.
it's all good. But you know what I was saying was I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm gonna hold the family together because that is my job and that is my position in the family. And anyone who knows who we are now as a family knows that I take care of everything and everybody. I have a business for the family. However, for all those years, I lived away
Mm-hmm.
because I was the foul one. I was the one that wasn't living according to biblical standards. I was that was the stain. You know what I mean? So I get that. So when she talks about, being willing to not be quiet and to do the generational curses, let's get it. Let's get it. What did Justin says? They are black.
They said they didn't know I. Yeah, Beverly has a story
They didn't
for
know
you.
she existed.
right. And so
Baby,
that looks, so trust me, that's a bad
we
side
not
to
trying to
show.
leave nobody, Alora. Yeah, they always call the black sheep when they need us. Absolutely.
But see, we're called black sheep because we don't mind calling out the BS.
Mm-mm. And
And
because we don't fall in line and follow along like the rest of the sheep.
well, see, I've always been outspoken, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that my parents brought me up in a way that even if I got in trouble for something, say I got in trouble, and this is a prime example, I got in trouble at school.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, I was initially, during that moment, my parents told me, okay, well, you're on punishment.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do is when we would have family dinner, because we would have family dinner, that was my opportunity, where we would all talk about our day. But that would be my opportunity to say, I know XYZ happened or XYZ was said, and I know I've been given this punishment, but I for real didn't do XYZ. So my parents brought me up in a way to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so everybody that knows me knows I'm quick to be like, look, I got XYZ going on, and I'm, if I say something or if I do something, I'm gonna tell you I said it, I'm gonna tell you I did it, and I'm gonna tell you why and how. And so if I'm gonna get in trouble about something, I'm gonna get in trouble for something that I really did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quick to be like that.
Sorry, Alora. I just saw your message. I apologize.
Okay, what did Mr. Wolf say? He said, I think it's not the generation, it's the gap in knowledge.
Yeah.
Like the story of the child asking her mama why she cut the ham in half and found out it was just that years back their pot was too small to hold the full ham.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, and you're exactly right. It goes back to years of just, that's just how it's always been.
Yes.
But just because that's how it's always been doesn't make it right.
Okay, but let me tell you this.
Let's see,
So
good evening. I'm still at work. I was looking. My times are all jacked up. That's okay. I forgot remember you're in Central.
yeah.
You're in Central.
So those who know my mother know that my mother has been the businesswoman from the just hey, she's just that's just who she is. Mama is all business. Mama is about, let's get it handled, let's get it done. Mama's all business.
Mm-hmm.
She raised me to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
But see, Mama would be like, okay, well, we just not gonna talk about that. We're gonna go on and keep it moving, and we work on this, and we gonna work on that, and this, and the third. But we're not really gonna talk about what happened in the background. We just gonna move forward and keep going. I'm like, okay. So I am very much one of those people. We're to move forward. We're going to keep going. But one of the things, just being me and being who I've had to become over the years through my experiences. Because I mean, she would know about my experiences, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times she was just like, well, baby, that's just
She
the way
just didn't
things
want to deal with
are.
the conflict
Or,
or whatever.
she'd just
Yeah.
be like, well, you just gonna have to, you're gonna have to, suck that one up.
Go in
Or
the bathroom, cry about it, get your
splash,
back, yeah, and then come
splashing
back
cold
out
water on your
after,
face, fix your makeup,
and then come.
reapply your lipstick, and come on.
That's what we were always told. Well, that's what a lot of folks were taught to
That's,
do.
yeah, and we were, and I was.
Okay,
I was
hold
taught
on,
that.
hold on. Look like we have a call coming in. Thank you for calling this thing called life. I'm sorry.
Hey, this is Justin. How are you?
Doing well. Are you all able to hear him?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
How are y'all doing?
We're wonderful. How are you?
I've been busy. You know what I've been doing.
I know.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. Go ahead.
I seen the number. I wanted to call. I've been typing in for a minute, but I was like, what the hell? I want to call in. Participate. Nobody was calling, so I'm gonna do it.
Okay, well,
Thank you,
so
Justin.
go ahead and
Yeah.
share your thoughts.
I'm liking when I first came on, you're talking about family not necessarily being blood and that kind of thing, and I know all about that completely.
Absolutely.
And it's funny because there's the people that know it and the people that and there's the people that say it and they're just repeating the stuff that they've heard around the way, and then those that know it and they're bringing their and letting the rest of it stay outside the box a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and you start seeing the neon of how family wants to look down on us and call us black sheep and dark horses and things like that. But then when some stuff done that they consider black or dark, you know who they're calling. And at the end of the day, your real family are the ones that will show up at the door and be like, hey, there's things that's dark and things that's going to be rough, and here we are. And here we go. And the rest of us, everyone else seems to just kind of evaporate.
Absolutely.
Love is funny that way because we all have lots of love for each other until it's time to actually put forth the effort. We say I love you no matter what, but it really comes down to I love you until it requires my effort.
Mm-hmm.
Until I have to show it, until I have to stand up for you, until I have to be embarrassed by you, until the effort, the work, the requirements come in. When it's all about, I love you because I'm reaping the benefit.
That part.
Yeah, and then when the time comes to, I don't want to say pay up because that's not what it is, but actually use that love for what it's for, to be there for someone. It's not to rub the butt and tell them they're pretty every day. That's not what it's about. Even though those things should be done.
I was gonna wait and actually say that.
Yeah.
Credit. I know when things get rough and the people that say they love me aren't around, that's neon.
Mm-hmm.
That's neon. And, I'm not going to be eating that shit when they come back around.
Mm-mm. Not at all. Not at all.
Well, we appreciate your input because you have just, when I say hit the nail on the head with a lot of what you just said, and he kind of, segued into some of the other things that we actually talked about, being afraid to just say, look, you're going to turn around and call yourself family. Then when they jump off, then I expect your presence.
Yeah.
First through the door.
I expect now if life is happening and you're not able to come, so be it. Just like when we had, one of our sisters. But thank you so much. And look, I'm just sitting here.
We talking.
But thank you for calling. We'll appreciate you.
I will be calling you a little bit later because I need to talk to you about some stuff for the TV.
Yeah. Love you, ladies.
All right. Likewise. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. But we were. Well, you know what? Let me just stop. I'm gonna the comments first. We have the actress that I was raised by the silent generation, so there was no other way to be but to suck it up.
Mm-hmm.
They were just to survive. They didn't have time to be soft or to talk about what we now deem important. Our issues seem trivial to them back in the day. You know what? But that's kind of like where you got that quote unquote crazy cousin or that crazy uncle. Now we understand more than they did then that it wasn't necessarily that they were just crazy, but they had some life experiences that threw them off. So they were dealing with mental instability, psychological things. Sometimes it was physical or hormonal things that had their bodies completely out of whack. So, now we have a better understanding. And I'm thankful that we are becoming more vocal about things that are going on in life,
Mhm.
because what is affecting me, if I talk about it with you, case in point, thyroid.
Mhm.
We had the show about the thyroid. Somebody went to the doctor and followed up. They turned around and realized that was the source of a lot of their own personal issues. And
Mhm.
it was not some of the things that they were actually being treated for years at a time. And
Yeah.
as a result, things have gotten better for that individual. So it's like, but we can't really deal with things if we don't talk about things.
But the other side of that is, when they talk about people showing up for each other, baby girl's 16th birthday. And she said she wasn't throwing a shoe at him. I ain't mad, girl. I know I did too. You came for her 16th birthday to help me because y'all wanted to come and celebrate with us. But also because at that point in time, I was literally like trying to pull my hair out and I was um when I tell you this woman right here, now y'all all know that this is my sister, but she's not my blood sister, which kind of throws some people off. But this is my sister.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I say to you, or when I say to y'all, this woman came, she stepped in when I went down because unfortunately I don't remember a lot of stuff that happened that evening, or the next couple of days over that. When I tell you this woman has not left my side since then, from sickness to concussions to falling out to laying in the middle of the floor to having an absolute positive, like almost nervous breakdown and wailing in the middle of the floor, and then right down to crazy people in my life and
dealing with this thing called life.
And when I tell you she has not left my side. So when people talk about, I love you, I love you, I love you, I think a lot of times what ends up happening with that is that, I love you this and I love you that and I love you forever and I love you da 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 da. You love me until my usefulness for you expires. Until my usefulness expires.
But what
that is conditional love.
Yeah.
What we have
is
unconditional.
Do we agree on everything? No.
Hell no.
But the one thing I can say, even with that, and a lot of people can't say it, even when we disagree, we don't argue, we don't fight. I can't ever, I can't ever remember us having a fight.
Fight.
And
I done called you crazy and said I'm not talking to you. And like 20 minutes later, I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But we don't fight.
Yeah, no. It's like I'm sitting up there trying to think all the way back, even when we were in college. It's
20
just
years.
like, yeah.
20 years in, but we don't.
Yeah, fight. It's like, yes, for sure, having to suck it up and deal with that or keep it sometimes is a must. We also must understand the need to look at the root in order for the true healing to take place, and even not to repeat some of the same experiences. That part, that's where why I say the generational pieces, because like Mr. Wolf said, it's like the ham. Why do we cut the ham? Because that's just the way it's always been done.
But why?
And until they went back to the root cause.
She says she loves the way we love.
Thank you. It's like, unfortunately, as Black folks, we're still breaking the brainwashing that has kept us in strictly survival mode for so long. We couldn't show weakness, couldn't be vulnerable with anyone, including family. It's like, yeah. And we do communicate. We definitely communicate.
Sometimes without words.
Without words.
Complete each other's thoughts.
Can be in places. We'll call, look, what's going on? It's like, I feel you. It's like, I believe it and know it firsthand. Gap Tooth Diva, in effect, you show right. Watch out for some non-blood because they will turn on you like vipers. Is what, girl? What you just said out loud.
Yeah.
Whoo, blessed assurance. That's all I'm gonna
Hmm.
say on that part. Oh yes, because sometimes even family takes advantage. And I'm gonna even say this. I think about, when I think about who I am, and I'm always saying my circle of life and love.
Hmm.
My circle of life and love. And I think about how when you surprised me and Gary with that anniversary renewal, and I cried all friggin' day because the actress, my beauty is what I call her, was here from Texas. My cousin was here from Texas. You know, Annette, my cover
Michelle.
girl, Michelle, my gorgeous one, and then you had Buddy. Oh, my buddy.
My buddy.
My
My
buddy
buddy.
was, and then we're going to talk about G's cousin Kirby. I mean, the people who are fundamentally my true black girl magic sisters here in Indianapolis. And, like my New Salem church family, some of my other blood family, my uncles, some of my cousins. It's just like to look out and to see the and to I'm turning for one reason and then I see someone else. Then I turn and then I see someone. So I'm sitting up here bawling the whole time. I'm not cracking jokes to keep from bawling. But it was the most spectacular thing. I was just talking about this 2 days ago with a young lady. And I was telling her, I was like, when people authentically love you,
Hmm.
faults and all, because if anybody, I'm so glad that a lot of my stupid stuff happened pre social media. Woo! I am so grateful. Um,
I know, right? She said, "You don't know how hard that was." I tell you, I had them on board for months, and I was dragging them through for months. Y'all, this is what we gonna do. I need you here, and I'm gonna need you here, and I'm gonna need addresses. I mean, and like we would be having whole conversations, and you would be in the room, and I'd be like, "Who are you talking to?" Whoever I was dating at the time. I don't even remember at that point. At this point, it was just like, whoever, and just yeah, up until when I finally had to tell y'all, and even with that, that was
and that's all she said. Just be, this is what's happening on this day. Don't ask any questions. Just show up.
and it was literally
It's
like
like, what?
so like I literally told them like a week and a half, maybe like 2 weeks
Weeks.
previous to it happening because I was like, okay, the one thing I can't do is close.
And then there were certain family members that you were trying to get his cousins,
Yeah,
that actually made it. And
yeah, that
so,
was
yeah.
that was an amazing. But I'm going to say when somebody made the comment about vulnerable, and because we for so many years as Black people in general, have always had to be hard, and we've always had to we were not allowed to be soft and to be vulnerable. So I am going to say again, thank you, because you before you came into my life, back into my life, like in my life on like a full time right
Okay.
here basis.
Okay.
And then until the most recent person who came into my life,
Hmm.
I'm
I
not
like.
here to allow you to see
I
me.
like the most recent person
My
that
mama
came
like the
into
most
you.
recent person that come into
Yeah,
my
I
life.
like that person.
So there was vulnerability. I did not let people in. I kept everyone at an arm's length. No one knew my backstory. If they weren't there for it, they didn't know the backstory. If they were not, and when I say my inner sanctum, there were like three or four. If they were not one of those three or four, like unless you were there for what was going on in my life, you did not know. You had no clue what was going on in my life. And so, again, that's why I say I had to say to you.
I'm not crying tonight, just so you
Listen,
know.
okay, fine. Just to you, to my inner
At
sanctum.
least not on the air.
Yeah, to my inner sanctum. That they allowed me to just breathe. And these are the women that I know love me. And it is not about what I can do for them. It is not about what I do for them. It is about
At all.
just the love that we all have for one another. And because of that I have for them and that they have for me, is why I have no issue with doing things. So that surprise vow renewal, honey, that was a level of love.
To deal with some of my family.
Oh, some interesting people. But then, and then even so, like I said, the most recent addition to my life, because that's vulnerability, that's being soft, that is actually opening
Letting go
myself,
of the reins of
letting
control.
go of the reins, and just being like, hi, this is who I am. This is me. I think he probably knows more about me than some people my entire life, or who have called themselves being around my entire life. And it has just been because that was like I had that someone that said, you know what, you don't have to
Yeah, you don't have
do it all.
right,
You don't have to
right.
carry it all. You can put some of that on my shoulders. Or like him, you can lay it on my chest. Like, you can lay it on my chest. I'd be like, hey, here, down to, I mean, just,
And it doesn't always have to be anything major. Like today,
mm-mm.
I had a meltdown. Today is my Aunt Virgie's birthday. And that bothered me.
Really?
It was just like, wow. But I was looking at one of my cousin's posts,
Mm-hmm.
and in one of the pictures, Luella Bridges Brand was over in the corner chasing just as big, with a lot of my aunts and uncles. I mean, that was, and so whatever was going on, it was it was slash smile, because all of them had that, you know, we're catching you while you're smiling, but something was either just done or said, and we're about
Everybody
to
was
start breaking.
laughing.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so when I saw that, it was just like, it kind of took me to a very vulnerable place unexpectedly. Unexpectedly took me there. So, I'm doing laundry, making sure that, my husband has his clothes for work, because today, thank goodness, was a day off for him. And so I'm making sure everything is in order, as it relates to being a homemaker, being a wife, making sure he's well. And and it was just like I found myself in that place, and so I called to ask him about something else, and he was like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I'm okay. I'm all right."
You've always talking about you
And
okay.
he
All
was
right.
like,
Then you make the other
"No."
cry face.
He was like, "No, come here." He got on the bed and he was like, "Come here." And I'm just laying there, like you were saying, put it on my chest,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't saying a word. He was just talking, and then tears just started to flow. He's like, "Why are you weeping?" He's like, "Why are you weeping? If you're okay, why are you weeping?" And then I, proceeded to tell him, about the picture, and just kind of going into that place of vulnerability. And he let me have that moment. And after that moment, we talked about other stuff, and and it was just one of those moments where it's not a big deal to whomever else, wherever else, but he made a statement. He said, I don't care what's going on. When there is a shift in your mood and how you feel, and you need me, tell me, baby, I need you right now.
Mm.
And when he said that, that just, didn't help the situation
Listen, he done
anymore.
made matter
I
now.
know,
You know,
girl.
seeing the
It's like,
I love the way that he loves you, honey. He be making me ready to push him out the window. I ain't gonna lie to you. Oh,
it's because you're both cancers.
oh my
And you
God. Would
all
just
are
be like,
kindred
oh,
spirits.
Jesus, get away from me.
It's so, yeah, it's
But
so funny how things can be playing for you right under your nose and you have no clue. My daughter threw a surprise party for me and planned it right under my nose. What? Right? And it's like, and
right
when
across
you
the hall.
think about it years later, because that was 2 years ago, it's like it still makes me weak.
Yeah. That Deatrice says that Snow was trying to keep us from being great. Look, baby, we wasn't having it.
Yeah, it
We wasn't
was.
having
It
it.
was trying, but I'm so glad that you all were able to be great. And I
Persevere.
cried all the way. Look, and I still cry now and then about it.
Yeah.
But going back to the blood versus family though, it kind of puts you in a position to say, okay, well, should I try to establish now, like especially for those if you grew up in different regions and you don't have any, you know, bad history or bad blood, should I try to establish that relationship, that familial relationship with my biological loved one? Because there's nothing wrong. There's nothing. And I remember a couple of my cousins from growing up because dad would make it a point for us to go see everyone when we would go, come north. And so it would be like, but me and a couple of them were talking. It's like, you know what? I would look, and I told him, I said, I would love to be able to know your children.
Mm.
You know, I would love to have your children know my nieces and nephews.
Right.
Because who's to say down the road, down the line, years later, that they may not meet relatives? Case in point, one of the true black girl magic sisters
Is a cousin.
is a blood cousin of
Blood
yours.
cousin. So,
And then I'm meeting people in college because I got my family reunion T-shirt on, and they're asking me, "Where'd you get that shirt?" This
why
is
you got that
my
shirt?
family reunion T-shirt. Why are
I
you
got the same
asking?
shirt.
Hold up, you got the same shirt.
I
Why?
got the same shirt.
Right. And just conversation, blood relatives.
Now, I'm going to tell you, just taking it from a different perspective as a mother. Um, my daughter does not have a strong bond with her father's side of the family, or really even with her siblings, ever since the one sibling died, but really even with her siblings. Um, Part of that is geography. The other part of that is they didn't protect her when she was in their care,
Mm.
whether it was from another sibling, whether it was from cousins who decided she was different and, they decided to try to ostracize her and bully her and make her feel bad because she was different from them because she didn't grow up around them. And mama don't do ratchet shit. Mama don't do ratchet shit. Mama don't accept ratchetness. We every now and then we may have some, do a little twerk. But I'm just saying, for the most part, we don't. So she don't know all the latest dances, and all that back then. And my child grew up with books.
And
My
around
child,
the elders.
my child, she grew
She
up
grew up
around the
around the
elders.
elders.
She grew up at the feet
of the
of
elders.
the elders. So my child has a whole completely, totally different persona, mindset. Just she's very, very different. But when she went to visit, and and she was spending time with these other people, you know, they didn't look out for her. They didn't protect
So
her.
that
They
relationship,
didn't.
they tainted that
All
relationship.
of them.
Yeah.
So she does not have a relationship with his side of the family. I mean, she knows one or two. She don't have a relationship with them. Some of them I've maintained relationships with, but she don't have a relationship with that side of the family. Then when you talk about when damage is done, and you sit there and you try to bridge, then your question becomes, do you try to force that? Do you try to fight for that? So let me tell you about the wisdom in this 19-year-old child who said, my father, my relationship with my father, my relationship with several of my father's family members is toxic, and I'm not going to do it. She cut those ties. Do I force it? No, because I'm never going to force anybody to love my child. I'm never going to
Or to
have,
love me.
or to love me. And I'm never going to force her to have a relationship. I'm not going to force nothing on this child, this
Young
young
adult.
lady,
Hmm.
this young woman. Because she beyond the age where I can force her to do anything now but go to school. And I'm here. She's there, so I can't really even force that. But so I think a lot of times, we're like, oh, we talk about generational curses and family secrets and all of this and all of that, and that being the cause for rifts, and that being the cause of being looked at differently. She is considered the black sheep on that side of the family, but she's considered the black sheep because, again, not following the sheep, she would not conform.
Now let me turn around and flip on that. Within my family, I told you I'm very close to my grandfather's brother, children and
Hmm.
grandchildren, and so on.
Yes.
You know, one year it's the family reunion, the next year it's family picnic. So it's like, so if you don't make one, you can make the
Yeah,
other.
absolutely.
And one just has a lot more going on it than the other.
Okay.
But it's still family getting together.
Absolutely.
But I try to connect my family, my grandfather's children and grandchildren, to them, to um, let them know about this amazing side of the family.
Hmm.
And I had one of the first generation members of, we call the aunts and uncles, the first generation. I had one, because several of them were still living at the time, had one of them make the statement to some of my cousins when, I was presenting them, and introducing them, and they were introducing themselves, because I have a family
Yeah, yeah.
page, and that way everybody was getting to know each other. And but when first generation members made the statement that they weren't trying to get to know my grandfather's side of the family because they don't deal with those people. Bitch, you got his last name. Oh, bring back the excuse me. And, they do things that are ungodly. Hell, we got drug addicts and on look in our family, we got folks that hold all up and down anything that'll bust their legs open. They will turn around and they will let them run up in it. And then we got the flip side with the ones that will stick anything, that will run up in what the hell ever that they can run up in. And you want to sit there and try to talk about somebody else, but you don't want a direct line. See, that's why I'm the black sheep of the family, because I call all that out. You can't turn around and talk about what's happening over here with this particular line of the family when we got the same mess in our own. When we got folks that y'all don't want to y'all want to act like certain folks not gay in our family
Well,
because of
what
what
in everybody's family.
because of what they do in church. You don't want to. You try to act like all of this stuff is not like our stuff don't stink. But then when I'm and they and I and fortunately several of those several of my cousins from my direct line have connected with the other side of the family, so they know how amazing they are because they have had the opportunity to get to know them. They have had the opportunity to get to see, just how wonderful and loving these people are and how supportive they are. They've had the chance to experience them. And when you start talking about blood, I was telling you, one of Uncle BJ's oldest grandchildren, no, one of his daughters, I'm sorry, one of Uncle BJ's daughters and one of my first cousins look like identical twins. When I say they look like identical twins, and I'm being an artist, I can see a lot of differences. And yeah, they have their slight differences, but if I were walking down the street, I would have called my cousin by Uncle BJ's daughter's name. That's just how much they look alike. They still cousins. Yeah, they're cousins, but
no, I know. Yeah. I'm just saying you like caught him by the.
Yeah, but it was like it's so but that's the piece of the puzzle that really irks my bloodstream. You know, you are so sanctifrickin-monious. You are so sanctified and you love God so much until you can't deal with people that share your DNA that do not believe or live like you live. Jesus hung out with the ones on the street.
He was friends with
and he turned over tables. Look, he turned over tables in the church because they was messy.
And said, "Judge not, that she be judged." But he was hanging out with the neighborhood folks.
Right.
And
then took up for adulterer.
Then turned water into wine. That was my favorite miracle.
You know what? I cannot fool with her.
Listen, that is my favorite miracle. I ain't gonna lie to you. A whole lot of stuff went on in the Bible. That was my favorite. How come I can't do it? It won't go.
Hit show. Okay, let's give it a chance to come up. Yeah.
I'm just gonna read it. I had older cousins tell other older cousins that I would have a house full of kids and do nothing with my life. That same cousin has a son who has 15 kids in our hometown. I wonder if she's related.
You know what? Get out.
Do you want to kick me
out? Just go.
I'm just saying.
So we've got, don't be so heavenly bound that you are no earthly good. See,
ooh, we said that a lot,
haven't we? Though it said, I love my gap tooth diva. The very first fish fry.
Yes, absolutely. Didn't they have wine then too? I'm just saying.
You know what?
I'm just saying. I might need.
They had wine all the time.
I might need.
It's like how when the Hebrews were free from bondage religion, all of the first generation had to die out and would be going into the promised land. Sometimes that first generation has wounds that will not heal and hurts they can't get past. And that's it.
Baby.
But see, the part is okay, they have those things, but even though they have those things that are a part of who they are and how they feel and all of that, what they don't what they don't think about is how it affects the generations to come.
Hmm.
See, I'm cool.
The sons of the father.
Right, I'm cool with whatever my cousins like. There's one particular one that's a drug addict
Hmm.
that is ostracized. I don't like what that particular person does
Yeah.
or did.
Hmm.
Um, but when I would come north, I would still make it a point to see that person, just like I would make it a point to see everybody
Everybody
else.
else.
And then when I would spend the night with that individual in their home, people be like, over on that part in that part of town. I'm like, if she lives there and she is someone I love,
Guess
then
what?
guess what?
That's why I'm finna be.
And to this day, she tells me that me staying with her a couple of times I came up meant more than anything anybody else did or said during her time of addiction. Not because I gave her money or anything like that, but simply
Because
because
you
I showed
treated her
her.
like a whole damn human being.
And that's all she said. She was like, I will love you till my dying day.
Yeah.
Because
Because you
when I
treated
was
her like
at
a
my
whole
lowest,
damned human being.
said when I was at my lowest, you were right there with me and
Yeah.
for me.
Hell
You were up, and when I say we were up all night long, because she was, it's one of those days when you're binging, you just don't sleep.
yeah. Hmm.
So it's like trying to stay up, but we were for real up until the sun came up, and then we finally crashed for a couple hours, and then a couple hours later we were back up. But it was one of those where we sat up and we talked and we cried together and I did a whole lot of listening.
Which I'm sure she had nobody to do that. Or I'm sure that even if she had somebody do that, somebody who claimed that they would do that for her when the time came,
But
nobody
see,
had to
what
listen.
people don't understand is when you're dealing with people with addictions, sometimes you just have to meet them where they are because they have good days, they
Hmm.
have their strong days, and then they have moments where they just may fall completely off the wagon.
Hmm.
And when they fall off the wagon, that is not the time to beat them over the head with a baseball bat. That is the time to say, yeah, you may have to give them some tough love and give them some harsh words of reality, but you still let them know they are loved.
Mm.
You still have to let them know, I don't agree with what you're doing because you're hurting somebody that I love.
Yes.
Yeah, you're hurting
Yes.
yourself, but you're
You're
also
hurting
hurting somebody
somebody
I
else.
love.
Yes.
And I don't like the fact that you're hurting somebody that means
I
much
to me.
to me.
Yeah.
But it's like you're absolutely right, but they can't even see past those wounds they experienced growing up. So think about how their behaviors and words affect upcoming. That part right there, it does not happen. They don't try to see it. Even when you say something about it, they find a way to justify it.
Mm.
They find a way to justify it.
Ooh.
It really isn't hard to love people outside of their addictions and flaws. I wish more family did that for the relatives that struggle. Sometimes it is hard because I used to work for a residential, I was the office administrator for a residential substance abuse facility. And sometimes family members take other family members through some things when they're in the throes of addiction. And it does leave major, major wounds. But unless you deal with those things, that's just like being in a relationship with someone. Okay, he cheats, she cheats, whatever. And you all make the decision to stay together. You have to go through counseling. You have to deal with those layers of that onion, to
Yeah.
get back to the place where no, everything will not be exactly like it was
Yeah.
when you first came together. But you can peel the onion back enough to, you know what, I love you enough for us to try to work beyond this moment. But know that if XYZ happens again, I'm gonna bust you in your face.
Well,
I'm just saying,
yeah,
I'm
right.
saying that in jest,
But
but
then the other part of that is when you get to when you have those family members, and somebody made the comment about they don't think about what happened, um, how it affects those around them more for the generations to come, or just how they deal with things in general or deal with that person because when you use the example of a man and a woman, or an eros couple
hmm
going through it,
hmm
but and making the decision to love that person and to stay with that person. But then the question becomes, when that person is your sibling or that person is your parent,
hmm
that's a whole different level.
boom.
So when it's not hard to love them through it. It's hard to deal with the negative consequences of their actions. I think. But I will say that how you look at them,
Yeah,
it colors how you treat them. It colors how you
your
walk with them.
expectations
It
were
colors,
higher.
yeah,
You had higher expectations,
so
and
freaking
when
movie.
people don't quite, that's just like, going back to like the couple. A lot of couples don't make it because people go in with these
Unrealistic
unrealistic levels of
expectations.
expectations instead of getting to know a person where they are,
Yeah,
and then saying, okay, you know what, that's something I really don't like. That's something I really would choose not to deal with in my relationship.
yeah,
But then when, and okay, so you talk about it. And if you choose to say, okay, they choose not to change whatever the situation is, then you're put in a position to say, okay, am I going to continue to deal with XYZ? Or am I just going to say, you know what, I love me too much to deal with the toxic stuff, be it blood or no?
yeah.
You get to a point where you truly have to ask yourself those questions because your mental health matters.
Yeah.
Your mental health matters.
Boundaries are so
Boundaries
important.
are so important.
Yeah.
And it says, um,
Get out of my ketchup.
it said it does, and it can make trust very challenging depending on what their addiction has caused them to do. Yes. And
Or
it's just,
not to do.
or not, right, or not to do. And she said, what she said, get out of my ketchup. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to roll
Mm.
over to the mustard side of the aisle. Yes, ma'am. Go to the A1 and the Heinz 57. We're going to leave the ketchup alone. Loving them doesn't mean you got to deal with them for sure. Yes. Because sometimes just you got to learn how to, because we came up in a, well, a lot of us, thank God, I was brought up in a way to say you don't have to. But a lot of us, like you were saying, were brought up in a way that is say, okay, well, yeah, this person is this way, so you just have to deal with them and all of that. But the reality is, you don't. You can love them.
Hmm.
You acknowledge that they are your blood.
Mm-hmm.
But your family, in my opinion, now I understand the biological definition, but family are those people are the ones that you establish a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
I may be biologically connected to XYZ, but if I have a relationship with that person, because if you look at the word familiar and you look at the word family, in order for you to really be family, I've got to be familiar with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order to become familiar with who you are as a person, I've got to have a relationship with you. I've got to communicate with you. Seeing you at a family funeral and a repast does not make you my family. That just means that we share a common relative. So I know there's some things that may have been said tonight that some people may agree with. There are going to be some things because I'm sure some of my family gonna watch this. I said what I said, and we know I told the truth. Y'all
Same.
can like it, you cannot.
Same.
It does not change the facts.
Same.
Love you, but I am tired of people pretending that just because we are very gifted and because we are very talented and because there are a whole bunch of us that our stuff don't stink. And there's so many people and so many families that try to put up a front of perfection. So when that perfection becomes tainted with facts,
Truth. When the perfection becomes tainted with truth,
it's like,
because your dirty laundry got aired.
mhm, then it's like the end of the friggin' world.
Mm.
So if we would stop trying to act like everything and everybody in our lives that share our genetic makeup is faultless, even amongst ourselves, if we would just stop, it would make life a whole easier because when you're dealing with truth, you meet people where they are. So you're not having to prepare yourself and brace yourself to deal with the BS and the fakery and all of that stuff. It's like, okay, you're a junkie. I know to keep my purse and everything I have away from you. You like to steal. So I know to keep everything locked the hell up. You the family hoe and you try to sleep with everybody's men or you try to sleep with everybody's women. So I know to keep my man close by because I don't want to have to slap the taste out of your mouth because you're trying to ease up in his face too quick.
That's why there are people who will say, "Hey sis," or be like, "Oh, that's my friend, this and that and the other." You will never be in my space when I'm with my mister. Now that's bad.
Because you've already shown yourself.
Sorry, show me. If you gonna sit up there and try to hit on my ex husband, baby daddy, at my birthday party, at my birthday, you gonna make it a point to try to hit on or sleep with folks that I introduced you to as somebody that I was kicking it with,
That's how, folks.
baby, bye.
So, like I said what I said. People can like it, people cannot, but I said what I said, and I wear the title of Black Sheep proudly. So, again, for those of you that were not around in the beginning, I want y'all to make it a point to check out our sponsors and just go to their pages because trust me when I say on one of these pages or websites, there is definitely something that you will appreciate. Trust me when I say it. So until next week on this thing called life, we hope you all have a blessed rest of the week and live it on purpose,
And on your turn,
live it in
love.
mhm,
May
and
all who enter here do so with love.
point blank period the end.
When you walk into our house, that is the sign that you see right there. May all who enter here do so with love.
Right. So we love you all. We appreciate you all, and we will see you all next week on this thing called life.
Life.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night. And they just, yep, we were still on.
Yeah.
Look, my husband just came through. I was wondering if y'all were still on. Take care, y'all.
Good night, y'all.
Bye.